What's up, and welcome to another week of a green market. And the green market is actually brought to you thanks to some macro environment, and I will share more about that. But in today's episode, I think one of the key things that I want to share is that although we're seeing some green, right, although we're seeing some bullishness, it does not mean that in the near future the market will not dump that or will keep seeing this green. One of the reasons why we're seeing this green is some fundamental macro changes, and also Christmas is coming really. And what's more better than to end the year with a huge green candle and possibly cash out, right? And then use that cash to buy Christmas gifts. But there's always this myth of a Santa rally, Christmas rally, and there's always some sort of fundamentals backing that. But without further ado, let us go to our core news of today. So today I actually wanted to go back to talking about Genesis. So Genesis Trading is actually a subsidiary below Digital Currency Group. So Digital Currency Group is actually a very big group, and if you do not remember this, actually what happened is that Genesis, this is actually November 11th, so this happened last month, sent letters to clients saying that it has obtained an additional equity infusion of 140 million from parent company Digital Currency Group. Genesis, okay, with 175 million locked in FTX, is also the largest creditor of the VAC, right? So we know that actually Genesis, because of the FTX implosion, they have 175 million locked in FTX, right? So recently, actually Ryan Silkett, who's the founder behind Maseri, they do a lot of analysis for institutions, actually found out something that's really interesting that I think is important that we talked about. But before we begin, we got to understand how big is Digital Currency Group, right? Digital Currency Group is actually a huge group. It has a lot of different type of investments. But in terms of trading exchanges, they have Genesis, they have investment in Coinbase, they have investment in Grayscale. And Grayscale is actually the one that's always trying to file for the Bitcoin spot ETF, but it was always being rejected. And it was the one that's actually going to go on a court to sue the SEC, saying that they're not approving that spot ETF. So what did Ryan say, right? So Ryan says that he published an enterprise research piece on Digital Currency Group and Genesis this past week, based on reasonable assumption, inference, and public record around GBTC as a valuable balance sheet asset and piece of collateral of Digital Currency Group. There is one problem. So what it is, okay? So although my inferences pointed me to the fact that GBTC was most likely held at the DCG parent company level, again due to public documents, it seems equally possible that much of these collateral is actually held in Genesis and not DCG. That would not be good. So he is saying that, hey, actually, upon some findings that this is not positive at all. Okay, so why is it not positive, right? A key assumption in his analysis piece was that there was 600 to 800 million of crypto collateral at DCG. Most of this GBTC and ETH shares were purchased in 2021 and early 2022. So Grayscale actually has a trading product in the exchanges, stock exchanges, which is the GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and also the Ethereum, ETH, right? So these are the shares that actually institution can buy to have exposure to crypto without owning these cryptocurrency, right? But however, according to Ryan Silkett, he's saying that if these assets spoken for as collateral at Genesis, that it will cut DCG's value by 50%. Okay, so that would change everything in our model. It would suggest that there's a greater risk Genesis will be forced to sell millions of GBTC shares per month over the next 2.5 years in order to pay creditors. That would also reduce the incentives for DCG to pursue the ETFs. So now he's trying to say that there's a warning sign, and one of the clear telltale signals whether the Genesis liquidity crisis will affect DCG is whether they apply for the spot ETF, right? So this is still developing, but he is less optimistic today than he was earlier the week when they published the report. Unfortunately, this will likely remain a black box for some time. Until that box is open, we won't know how long the daisy chain of bad crypto credit extends, right? So he is saying that there's a lot of question mark about Genesis and whether the FTX contagion is gonna keep spreading and spreading, because everything is so intertwined. There's so much investment, and if a lot of investment in these crypto are going down, people will have to start selling assets. So he's kind of saying that, hey, the GBTC, because now they're having some liquidity crisis, not GBTC, but Genesis, they might have to keep selling actual spot Bitcoin, right? But we will know if that is happening, but that is definitely something to keep your eye on, right? So I just want to say that yes, it's a green market, but it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods. So why do we see a green market? Okay, so according to a traditional market, this is one of the reasons why we're seeing the green market right now. Chinese stock rally on reopening hopes, Morgan Stanley upgrades to overweight, right? So the Chinese stocks today has been rallying, and the reason for that is that China is saying like Beijing and Shenzhen announced over the weekend they will lift measures that require commuters to show negative COVID test results before travel, right? So as you can see, because of what's happened last week and so on, the Chinese government through the different provinces is starting to relax its COVID restriction, right? So with this relax, right, the market is getting very bullish as well. And at the same time, last week the economic data came out. It was actually less hotter than expected. So people are thinking that maybe the Feds will slow down the interest rate hike, which actually they're gonna start debating this very soon in the middle of December. Because right now it's they're entering into a blackout session so that they could look at the economic data and decide on how much to raise, right? So for this week, actually one of the biggest things that will happen, actually the PMI is important, okay? So the PMI could potentially affect the market, but it's not as big as the core PPI, right? I think PPI is the producer price index, right? So these indexes will show you whether inflation is being controlled. So in these 2 days, I think one of the most important thing for this week at least is actually this one. And also this one, right? Okay, so keep your eye on the markets and see how it affects them, right? So one more thing that will be quite important this week, actually today, is the EU is meeting together to kind of have a cap for the the quantity of the oil in Russia, right, that they buy. So that will definitely have some effect to the market as well. So that we'll have to see as well. Like so yeah. Anyways, moving on to crypto news. If you look at crypto news, market in general has been rallying. Bitcoin is now 17,313. Now it's going back up. Same for Ethereum, 1,296. It touched 1,300 a while back. But at the same time, interestingly, if you look at the crypto market cap, it's a 1.86% increase, 868.78 billion. But if you look at stablecoin is going up as well. So it means that there might be a new inflow of capital into the market, right? So if you look at this, still sideways, not a dramatic increase. I think the market is still on edge, but definitely if stablecoin could be going up and the crypto market is going up, new inflow of money, and possibly people are taking profit in this ride up, right? Because Christmas is coming, people might need to, kind of cash out as well, right? So don't be expected during, the year end, you might see some flash crash. Sometimes it does happen for Christmas. If you look at Bitcoin, right, if you look at the candle charts, look at it by day, in the past, right, in December, if you look at last year's December, right, last year December, we kind of had some flash crashes at the same time, right? Flash crash and then slowly dip down, right? So it really depends on how the narrative is, but don't be surprised to see flash crashes. So never too late to enter, right? Don't FOMO in when you see these huge green candles that are rallying, right? Or just a few percentage that seems like, oh, it's much needed in such a bearish market. So in general, Bybit, Swift joined list of crypto firm reducing workforce, so they definitely know what is going on. Liquidity is draining out of the market in general. There's this huge contagion that probably will implode because if you look at the Standard Chartered forecast, surprise Bitcoin downside after FTX collapse, right? They consider potential downside for Bitcoin 2023 as the cryptocurrency weathers the collapse of FTX, right? So definitely people are still on the edge. I think smart money is still looking like, because there's so many talks about recession really happening in 2023 that we really see the effect by then. So definitely don't deploy too quickly, like not financial advice, but risk is still definitely there when it comes to the contagion effect. So moving on to NFT news. Yuga Labs Board presented one of the broadcasts. It was a YouTube show. You could definitely check it out. Porsche announced 3D artist Patrick Roger will be the artist behind his first job. Allow list and a wait list for Cup Punch, which is the project for Tim Ferriss. And it's being announced, and it's the mint is happening this week. Artifact World Merging is connecting physical and digital world together with the chips. Definitely interesting to see how they blend the both worlds together. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's pretty much it about the NFT markets. So just to wrap up, interesting week today. Definitely be careful and Yeah, trade safe. Don't FOMO so quickly, right? This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, signing out.